Alright, and here we are into game 2 of SG versus Sweet Like Ice, round of 8 winners bracket matchup. So neither of these teams have been knocked down yet, of course, both winning their round of 16 match. Not particularly surprising for SG, and not actually that surprising either for Sweet Like Ice, considering they do have some regularly well-known players like Baltasar, Adro, Macera. I believe Fitzbill, I've seen him in other stuff. I don't specifically remember what, but that seems like a very recognized names, and Hop Grota's clan tag Z hit, I think, was Shit Happens, I believe. So at least he's clanned with a former competitive team, if not one that is currently still around, of course, as Shit Happens did disband, I believe. And in game 1, we saw things that happened, and I always start, and then I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't say anything, because maybe I haven't watched it yet for some reason. Anyway, here's a banning stage, and Grinnix Ophelia Pestilence Tempest coming out with, once again, that Pesty being banned on Legion's side. And this time it's Swindle Mullins, and I assume he knows what he's doing, so for some reason they're deciding, all these Legion teams, that they don't want to pick up this Pestilence, but they don't want to give it to Hellborn either, so deciding to ban it out themselves. Of course, that Grinnix ban versus Swindle is also very common. We saw him last game, and Swindle just hates that hero, I think, is the big thing. He does not like to play against him, and I can't really blame him. Grinnix is annoying as hell. Oath Tempest bans here for the Hellborn side, banning out really the two best junglers in the game right now. Certainly both first pick material, and if SG picks up one of these jungle heroes, you pretty much have to as well. Gladiator! Because you're not going to get a... you're probably not going to do too well in a second support lineup. Against a jungler in general, and especially against SG, they just know how to play against that too well, because they don't run second supports themselves. They pretty much always pick up a jungler unless they're all banned out. And that's exactly what's happened here, as Swindle first picks that Parasite into Warbeast and Gladiator, so lots of melee here so far. Gladiator, a particularly odd pick, as we almost never see that hero. I would assume it's going to be run middle in the hands of now Chessie, because Chessie played that mid Zephyr last game. So I assume he's going to be handling mid duties once again, as Minuts is the suicide player in Parasite, and Swindle transitions to the carry role for some reason. So with Limp out of the lineup, of course, and being replaced by Minuts Sucks, who played the support D-Sham last time, everybody switches up roles. Z-Freak went to the jungle, Chessie went to mid, Minuts went to suicide, and Swindle went to the carry. We'll see if that stays the same this game, or if things change up a little bit. I expect at least Z-Freak to be on the Parasite in the jungle, and Minuts Sucks to be on the support. But Chessie could go back to his carry role. Minuts could go back to, or couldn't actually go back to jungle. He could stay suicide, and Swindle could go back to the mid role. We'll see. Anyway, on the Hellborn side, we got Keeper, Bubbles, and Kraken, 3 heroes that could be run as suicides. Obviously, only one of them will be. And I suspect it's going to be that Bubbles. Could be Kraken, too. I don't think it's going to be Keeper, just because he's almost always run as a jungler now, since he took those hits to nature, to his starting armor, and as a result doesn't suicide quite as well, because he's not nearly as tanky. I slightly prefer the Bubble Suicide, I think, well, it depends really on what Stay Green does here. If they run a solo short laner, then the Kraken is probably a better bet. If they run a dual lane bot, then you're going to want the Bubbles, because he's a little better at staying in line, I think, compared to up against a dual lane compared to a Kraken, who, is tanky, but just gets boxed out by a support from range, harassing him like crazy. Whereas Bubbles can trade auto attacks for a while and maybe even get a kill with a Shell Surf and/or a Song of the Sea if that support gets a little too low. Banning stage, of course, coming in here again. Master of Arms, so there's Scout from the Legion side, Rhapsody, Wretched Hag, and Cersei from the Hellborn side, so clearly focusing support bans on the Hellborn, besides that Hag, who is very well known to be one of the strongest heroes in the game and a favorite of SG. They run her quite a lot. So that's a pretty targeted team ban, while as the Rhapsody and Cersei are more of the current pick they have. They're lacking a support hero, so they decided to take out 2 of the more popular supports here, 2 of the more powerful supports here. On the other hand, Hellborn actually is also missing a support hero, so they will also not be able to use those heroes. Swindle's Scout ban, also very common. He does not like playing against that Scout in Suicide role. Of course, they've already got 3 heroes that could theoretically be suicides. Whether they pick a 4th is questionable, but they could certainly actually run a Scout here as a solo short laner, or a short laner with babysit, with Bubbles or Kraken mid, and then the other one who doesn't suicide, who doesn't go mid would go suicide. So Scout is actually a theoretical possibility, even though that would, funnily enough, give them 4 heroes that have suicide potential. And the Master of Arms, of course, banning out one of the semi-popular supports, really, and one that SG I don't think plays too much, so taking an option away from the Hellborn side, well, not actually depriving them of anything, because I'm not sure if they would have picked up that Moa, and certainly they wouldn't have first picked it, otherwise they wouldn't have banned it. Slither as a short lane carry, Hellborn team sort of lacks that, and they still do, really, with Pebbles and Nymphora picked up. So they don't have much late game at this point, and they're going to have to be a little wary of that. I suspect with the Pebbles and Nymphora, those are going to be running combination in the short lane, and we're going to see a mid Kraken and a Suicide Bubbles, or a Suicide Kraken and a mid Bubbles. On the Legion side, I'm guessing Jungle Temp, Parasite obviously, Gladiator middle with Pyromancer, Suicide Warbeast, and solo short Dr. Repulsor. So that is going to be a solo short Doctor, and I suspect it's going to. I'd like to see the Suicide Kraken, like I said before, because I think Kraken can definitely hold his own against a Doctor. He will get harassed a little bit, but shouldn't die, and can return that harass a bit with Splash Auto attacks if Doctor gets too close. And of course Kraken will be able to get CS with that same splash, plus the charge will pretty much prevent him from being in any real kind of danger. So we'll see what these decisions end up being. Right now it looks like Gladiator is obviously heading mid, as there's pretty much no chance he was going anywhere else. Pyromancer is headed in a similar direction, actually up top, possibly to go put a ward down, but we'll see. I believe she does have both wards, yes. So if they're going to ward that pole or drop wards in the Hellborn jungler, Pyromancer looks like she's going there all by herself, and she will certainly, so that's just going to lay a rune ward, that's fine. She will certainly be in this mid lane. I think that she's definitely not going to keep her time confined to bottom, because Repulsor, of course, does need those levels very quickly, and really shouldn't be in any danger against this Kraken, even without the level 6. Kraken's probably not going to kill a Doctor by himself, so he needs some substantial support. Up top, it's going to be Nymph Pebbles, like I said, against the Suicide Warbeast. So Warbeast could have some issues up here, as Nymphora will be able to harass him out quite a bit, and he's actually going to go all the way back to base. That's fine, of course, since he's using the dogs to pull. So he should be able to get to lane in time to meet up with this creep wave. As here come the dogs. Actually, Nymphora stuns him out. Only hits one side of the stun, though. And she's going to try to harass them out a little bit, but the dogs are bringing the creep wave all the way over here, and eventually through the river and up to the top, where Warbeast will greet them and provide some lane control for him. Meanwhile, in middle, Pyro's doing everything she can to force out this Kraken. It's going to be a mid Kraken instead of a Suicide Kraken. So Bubbles will be in the Suicide lane, which of course suits him just fine, as Doctor, definitely can't get a kill on the Bubbles until he's at least level 6. Without that jump, it's just not going to be possible to kill this Bubbles unless Bubbles is misplaced terribly, lets himself take a whole bunch of harass, and then uses a shell surf aggressively or something. But I don't expect that to even get close to happening. This Bubbles, unless Parasite comes in, I don't expect Bubbles to be in any real danger at any point. Meanwhile, they've actually failed the Suicide Warbeast pull here, as Minots is trying once again with the dogs to get the lane back to where he needs it to be, but he's not going to drag anything at this point, actually. The lane will push up quite a bit, so he's going to get lane control here just because the lane's going to push up. There are going to be double archers pushing up top. He does not manage to hit level 2, he's simply just leeching experience. But of course Pebbles is getting pretty much free farm here, as Warbeast is too afraid to really go up there and contest. And Nymphora's pretty busy over here in the jungle stacking to try to make sure they get lane control back, and that looks like it is going to happen, and she's going to get the jungle stack off, and they're going to pull the lane. On bottom, Doctor has in fact lost lane control to Bubbles, and part of the reason of dropping that electric contraption down is because it does damage to multiple heroes, and he covers the slow auto attack. So Bubbles is going to take some pretty serious harassment here, but now Doctor's out of mana, so there isn't going to be too much more that he has to worry about. And of course, plenty of mana here for Shell Surf and Bubbles, so not anything particularly concerning there. Meanwhile, in middle, looking at the farm game real fast, it's 16-2 Gladiator up against a 4-1 Kraken, so no surprise, Glad's winning this here with his Whiplash, getting lots of easy last hits, and Kraken's Splash isn't going to do too much because of this Pyromancer pretty much staying on him the entire time and harassing the crap out of him. Meanwhile, up top, they do have lane control back as the lane pushes under the tower, and they once again will pull the wave into the trees. Minus is again trying to do something with these dogs to get lane control back. It's basically just a fight, so that's actually to prevent the pull there and push the creep wave under the tower. So this might end with Warbeast still in control, actually, as the dogs are going to pull this creep wave all the way back over here and into behind the first tier tower. Unfortunately, it looks like these two waves are going to meet in a pretty solid position here for Hellborn, right up against their tower, so that's once again not going to maintain lane control here from Minots on this Warbeast. He is going to get some CS as he manages to kill these creeps, but I don't know what he's doing. He might as well just kill this wave. Like, there's not anything that's happening that's beneficial here, except, okay, these creeps are going to be a little delayed now, so this might help him out a little bit. That's actually a pretty good play. As Warbeast is sitting on 4-0 in the creep farm, but Pebbles is at 24-7, 355 gold per minute, so pretty excellent farm there. Not quite up to snuff, though, compared to both Glad and really even Doctor, who's at 18-3, but he has a more contested lane. Glad's at 31-4, so pretty close to perfect CS, I believe. 400 gold per minute. He has his bottled. He's going to pick up this haste rune here. I don't think they're going to be able to kill this Kraken, but if they run to the jungle, maybe they can pick off Keeper of the Forest, who does have his Nature's Veil, actually, choosing not to go Entmoot. That's going to slow his jungle down quite a bit, sitting only at 240 gold per minute. Meanwhile, Parasite's at 285 gold per minute, because he is going to farm faster than that Keeper of the Forest without maxed Entmoot. Splash auto attack here on Gladiator didn't do some damage, but he doesn't really care. He has a full bottle. Over here on bottom, Doctor's 23-5 compared to a 14-3 Bubbles, so obviously Doctor will bring this lane, that's to be expected. But Bubbles is holding his own, getting some CS, getting some levels. He is level 5, and Doctor just hit 6. So Doctor has the ability now to jump this Bubbles, although I don't think he'll be able to kill him. He's going to need to force the Shell Surf out and then follow up with the ultimate. As in middle, they're diving Kraken, and he's going to die thanks to the haste Gladiator with the Whiplash auto attack. So good gank there from Parasite. Z-Freak comes in and manages to get a kill there. Now Bubbles is in trouble because he Shell Surfs over, but actually a hasted Glad's going to put the Pitfall and the callback down. Take cover on top of the Glad Pitfall, but that's not going to be enough as Doctor jumps in. And they get a kill here, actually going in favor of Minot Sucks on this Parasite, or Pyromancer. On the other hand, top tower is going to get pushed in as Keeper comes out of the jungle with his Keeper trees, and that's going to... This could very easily be a top tower kill, actually, because the creep wave will get wrecked. This is a double wave coming in from the Hellborn side. They're going to try to pull it back so that the tower doesn't go in quite as fast, but this is still going to be a tower. There's the toss. Pebbles gets the last hit on the tower. He's up to 420 gold per minute, which is pretty good, but still not quite as good as Glad, who's at 430. So looking at the overall GPM charts, in the middle, it is Mr. Chessie who is ahead of everybody. Just barely, though, as Pebbles is right on his tail. Parasite and Dr. Repulsor are numbers 3 and 4, though, putting 3 of the top 4 farmers in the game on the side of SG, this Legion team. Warbeast has had a pretty suffer time here at 134 gold per minute. He would be able to recover a little bit once the jungle gets opened up, and he's able to farm. But this is a top secondary tower push now, and they should probably do something to address this here as the Chuck comes out. Meanwhile, on bot, Bubbles will get picked off, as there goes the pull in, and the face hug on top of the leech, and so Bubbles can go nowhere. So this top push, they're going to need to be somewhat defensive here because, you know, this Hellborn team can push in fairly well with that Chuck and the heal coming out from Nymphora. She doesn't actually have it yet, but there's an Nymphora Zeal allowing Pebbles to chase down Warbeast. There's a stun, and he's got a Chuck here. Where's the Chuck? Doesn't have it. Has it 1 second. There it is, and that's a dead Warbeast. But Glad and Pyro coming in here, and where's the Pitfall? There it is. There's a callback and the Pitfall on top of that, and he goes up on top of Dragonfire Stun. Phoenix Wave, not even necessary as Pebbles goes down. So really kind of a terrible trade there for the Hellborn side. They trade their highest farmer of 400 GPM Pebbles for one of the lowest farmers in the game, actually, with Warbeast at 130 GPM now. Of course, that was after his death. But really not a swap you want to be making on the side of the Hellborn, giving a kill up on your best farmer for the other team's really second worst farmer. Probably might even be a worse farmer, as Pyro might have been out farming that Warbeast, although he did get that kill, so maybe not. Doctor was coming middle for interesting reasons. He has a full bottle. I assume he's going here for that rune primarily, as it's going to be double damage, or a refreshment rune. Up top is going to be a regen, so we actually much prefer that. But it is going to be grabbed here by Glad, and it's going to be used by Glad. And it will wear off there as he gets topped off with his mana. So Doctor's still hanging around middle a little bit, looking for a jump opportunity on somebody. There are 3 Hellborn heroes, though, as Pyro's diving the tower for reasons. There's a root coming out from Keeper, going to hit both Glad but Pyro's going to melt. On the other hand, here comes the Gladiator ultimate, going to hit 2, including a kill onto Keeper of the Forest there. Kraken's going to charge away. He's not going to be able to get followed thanks to the Kelp Field coming out from Bubbles. So it's going to be 1-for-1 trade there. Keeper for Pyromancer, once again in favor of SG as they trade their support for the enemy team's jungler. Pitfall comes out, and that's going to do some damage to the creep wave, and they're going to look to push this in. And they won't be able to get a kill here, I don't think, just because the Keeper dogs are going to drag the... Nope, they are going to expire. So I'm not sure this is going to be a Keeper tower kill. Especially with the Glyph coming out here. There's just not that much pushing potential on the Legion side, but they're going to be able to put some considerable damage on it. And Parasite's going to head back into the jungle, while Warbeast heads top to grab some farm. He is level 6, so that's going to help him out quite a lot. Going to be able to play a lot more aggressive now that he can hit that R button and get away at 522 base move speed. And unslowable. Pebbles, however, does have his portal key and probably is looking for a pick here on this Warbeast, but Minus wisely backs up, and then he goes back in. Nope, he's just going to send the dogs in, so... He's going to go back to base. Meanwhile, in middle, Gladiator's not in vision range, and Pebbles is looking for a pick here. So they're going to push in this mid tower, see if they can get somebody to come defend it, and they're going to respond with a Pebbles portal key, and that might be what happens to Glad here. They're going to get vision of him if he steps up even a little bit. Pyromancer's off to the side, not in range of the portal key from Pebbles, of course, but able to do something maybe. There's a Pitfall and a callback on Glad, and here comes everything, but there's a combo into 2 actually. Nobody dies though. Shell Surf comes out, Repulsor, he's gonna die. Nope, won't die. Chessie does fall. Adro in the background actually does fall thanks to Z-Freak's Parasite pick off. And Pebbles is gonna fall thanks to the last hit from Z-Freak. Meanwhile, Pyromancer's in some trouble. We're going to take the Torrent slow out on top of the root, and she's going to go down. Warbeast is going to die to the Shell Surf, and Root, the Parasite, is going to infest a creep and manage to run away. So, pretty good trade there for the Hellborn side, losing Pebbles and Nymphora, but taking Warbeast, Pyromancer, and Gladiator. Repulsor's going to jump in and try to kill this Keeper. He actually does have a Rev Ward down, but he still can't find him. There's the port coming out, and we'll see if there's a Pitfall. No. So Keeper manages to grab the port. On the other hand, Kraken's coming over here. Zeal Sun's going to miss, but he's going to get slowed a little bit. Here's a Pitfall. Is going to land. Nicely done. There's the Whiplash for the kill on Kraken. So nice play there. Nice face hug onto Pebbles, preventing him from stunning anything. The Sun's actually going to miss, and then he's going to die to a Dragonfire, or a Phoenix Wave. So great face hug there from Parasite, preventing Pebbles from stunning or chucking anybody directly after the portal key, trying to get that jump there on the Swindle Melons, but just not able to thanks to the silence from Parasite. And this tower is going to fall as a result. So SG loses a mid-fight, but comes back, gets a couple of picks, gets a tower, and ends up doing fairly well for themselves in the end. Was that like a cow that comes out? What the hell is this Gladiator ult? I don't even know what the hell he is. This, I could just do that, but Jesus. It's like some sort of weird thing. Anyway, meanwhile on bottom we've got Warby's taking out the tower there, but he is going to go into ulti form, but he's going to get stunned, and he's going to get tossed. It's not going to be enough as he's just going to run away, and Pebbles won't be able to chase. So that extra health coming out in wolf form, of course, for Warby's extremely beneficial. Meanwhile, up on top we got Swindle free farming that lane as it is pushed in. Of course, top tower dead, so it gets pushed pretty far down there. And gives the Legion some safe farming. They do have a ward up here near the Ancients, but that's the only one. So theoretically, I think this team, the Hellborn side, could sneak their way around up top and manage to get themselves into the top lane without being seen. But good game sense from the players in SG will sort of prevent ganks like that. So they're going to need to be aware, or they're going to need to get a ward up higher in the river to prevent Hellborn from coming down to the top and finding them. But it looks like there's going to be a gang squad running into the jungle as Doctor's going to see this Keeper and run away. Keeper's going to put his Nation Spell down and try to find somebody else. But Legion have quickly figured out that's not a great plan to be in this jungle, so let's just leave. And the Hellborn will find nobody. Instead, they'll head for this bot tower and look to take it out as a 5-man squad jumps in. Keeper Dogs come out, and this is going to be a pretty quick tower kill. As they shell surf and toss, clean up the creep wave on the Legion side, and down goes the tower. SG clearly not interested in team fighting right now, clearly not interested in defending towers. And they really haven't been for most of this game. They put up a meager defense at that mid tower, and they really got punished pretty hard for it. And then, of course, top tower, they did nothing. They have managed to take both mid and bot towers. They can't be too concerned about the tower situation right now, unless, of course, the secondary tower gets taken, and it is dropping fast. Dr. Pulsar is here looking for some backup, and he's not going to find it. Instead, the Hellborn are going to push in, and they're not going to back off quite yet. I think they're going to want to force some ports before they decide to leave, although 3 heroes here departing, as it's just Kraken and Pebbles left, and then there's Nymphora, who are going to port them somewhere, and probably up here in this middle to find Bubbles. Yes. And Warby's ultimate coming out, but there's a Zeal Stun on top of the Chuck combination, and he's dead. So, a bit of unfortunate positioning there for Minots on that Warbeast, but he is, as he is picked off. But top tower goes down thanks to Z-Freak and Pyromancer. Z-Freak, meanwhile, finds a Wild Hunter, manages to get himself invisible. As the Hellborn side are interested in taking Conqueror, but there is a Legion ward right there, so they know exactly what's going on. And Legion, I think, does need to stop this. It's one thing to not defend a bunch of towers. They have to be aware of this Conqueror kill, and they have to do something about it. The Wild Hunter Parasite scouting out the entire team is actually Hellborn's going to decide to back up. Ultimate coming out onto Pebbles there as the Glad Ultimate also comes out. Dust Revelation gets popped, and that's going to be the death of the Keeper of the Forest. Nymphora is going to come back thanks to the callback, but he's not going to fall. Gladiator Pitfall is going to hit him, not going to be able to kill the ultimate, or the Codex coming out onto Balthazar, and he's going to die. So I believe that was a buyback on Pebbles. Yes, and he just died again. Bubbles getting chased down here. Take cover, but he's in a lot of trouble as he does have Shell Surf now, and there it is, and he's going to surf right over the trees. Possibly not enough, as there's the Warbeast, and a nice Pitfall going to be coming out. Going to catch the Bubbles. So he's going to get taken out thanks to the last hit from Warbeast, and this secondary tower is going to die, as 4 heroes from the Legion happen to be chasing Bubbles down. Might as well go in, and actually Kraken drops everything on Parasite except for the ultimate even, and still dies.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn
So not a great play there from, and Minus falls thanks to the Pebbles combo, so good tower push, not so good in the other realms. Nymphora's ultimate, man is actually going to help this. Pebbles out a little bit, there goes the stun and the charge into the trees. Down goes Swindle, Jesus. That was a pretty terrible trade there for SG. They got a tower, they lost 3 heroes though, 3 of their most important heroes in Dr. Parasite and Warbeast. Just a bit of suffer there. Chessie is still managing the best farm in the game at 470 gold per minute, well ahead of pretty much everybody. Z-Freak's right behind him, well not right behind him, is behind him at 390, so pretty impressive farm there for a Parasite once again. He has 3-1 and 6, so it's pretty solid creep hero kill score, but it's really the creep stats. 62 creep kills on a Parasite is pretty damn impressive. It's not usually something you see where he's actually got more CS than this Doctor. Reasonably reasonably impressive right there for Z-Freak. So nice play, pretty excellent farm. He has gone the Codex route once again. It is a Codex level 2. So he is leveling that up as Hellborn's interested in pushing the spot lane. And with everybody respawning here for the Legion side, they're going to have to be real careful about this. Legion has all 5 heroes down here. Both Glad and Parasite are off to the side, providing some distraction. Keeper Dogs are going to do some damage to the tower. And Hellborn really doesn't want to initiate. They just sort of want to siege this tower down a little bit, it looks like, and then might actually just completely back off. I mean, that's what they're going to do. Realizing that Legion, and they may not have defended many of their other towers, but they will defend their base tower. Obviously something that you sort of have to do. So Bubbles is going to port top and find a nice little wave here for him to farm, and somebody else is going to come too. And it's going to be that Keeper who's going to go head to the jungle and farm that up, and M4 is just going to miss the 18-minute stack here on these Ancients, as Illusion Rune spawns bottom, and actually Z-Freak has infested a Warbeast dog, and he's going to find Kraken here. Nice portal key there to prevent anything from happening as Dr. Repulsor was jumping in on top of him. So that could have been a dead Kraken if Doctor had gotten that jump, because of course between the combo from Parasite and the Doctor auto attacks, even a tanky motherfucker like Kraken with a Mystic Vestments and 1600 health very possibly could have gone down. Up top, Bubbles is continuing to push now, not just farming, but actually putting some hits in that could take the tower. Not take the tower, do some tower damage as the scanning goes through, so bit of a push coming in here on top. Gladiator's going to clean up the Ancients with a quick fall there. As Doctor grabs the bot, Illusion Rune. And 4 heroes middle for the Hellborn team, so I don't think they're baiting. Everybody is not visible right now, or invis, so either hiding behind the trees. Actually, M4 port's going to come in over here, and Glad's going to be in some trouble as Kraken goes in, but he has an Assassin's Shroud. And down goes the Rev Ward, actually. So they might like to turn this. Meanwhile, in the middle, Balthasar on that Pebbles gets taken out once more. As they port away, and Parasite and Doctor find the time to jump. Nice combo there. So good timing. And that actually stops the port. So whoever was porting in here might have been somebody important. Meanwhile, Glad's in some trouble as he gets charged and Zeal stunned. Parasite coming in top, looking for a pick, but not going to find one. So Chessie hanging around a little bit too long. Meanwhile, up here on top is Root coming out from Keeper. Going to catch 3. Or sorry, just 2. Warbeast and Pyromancer. Warbeast pops that ultimate. Going to pull in this Kraken with the Doctor. And the Kelp Field comes out. Going to charge Doctor out of it. Kill him. Release the Corruption Route. Probably not necessary, but hey, why not? Courier's actually trying to chase this Warbeast down as the Torque comes out onto Pyromancer, and he's going to be in some trouble. But there's a good Dragonfire stun, and Kraken will be unable to chase. So good hold there from Hellborn team, getting a couple of pick off, or just one pick off actually, onto Dr. Repulsor. But previous to that, exploiting Chessie's decision to stay out when he shouldn't have. Z-Freak's infested this wolf, so he is invisible right now, but he doesn't really have an opening as all the heroes over here are grouped up. Kraken's going to jump way far as Warbeast is caught by a torrent, but he's going to decide he's not interested in taking that engagement. Parasite's still running around on that wolf. As the Pitfall helps clean up the wave a little bit and stop a lot of this tower damage. Word of Revelation dropped here by the Hellborn team, just in case somebody is running around invisible, and of course Parasite has been doing a lot of that, so good play from them. Parasite's up to, what, level 4 Codex? Can't see, of course, because he's in a creep. God damn you, Z-Freak. Always such a problem. So as that mid push dissipates, items roll fast. We've got Swindle Melons with that icon of the goddess, Bottle, Steam Boots, Alien Exile, and a power supply. So he's sitting pretty good right here with that initial icon. Very popular. He's looking for a pick on Bubbles, not going to find one. Warbeast is from the spot lane, sitting on an Abyssal Skull, Mighty Blade, presumably that's going to be a Shrunken Head, Steam Boots, and Mystic Vestments. I like that build, and I like that build order. Of course, Abyssal Skull letting him get some farm. After he had a pretty suffer time up top, he's sitting at 312 gold per minute thanks to that Abyssal Skull, really, which allows Warbeast to just free farm statically because those wolves get plenty of lifesteal, as does he. And of course, that Shrunken Head going to be going to do wonders, getting him out of that keep root, stopping the Pebble stun, stopping the Kelp field, and all the damage from bubbles pretty much, stopping a lot of Kraken stuff. So Shrunken extremely important here, as it is for Gladiator. He got the initial Assassin's Shroud, presumably for just the gank potential, but now he's going for, I think, more of the safe route with the Shrunken Head. Mighty Blade already picked up, and he's got 2100 gold, so he's not particularly far away from it, for that matter. Might not sucks here in this Parasite playing support, so he's got one Word of Revelation, Steam Boots, Major Totem, Mystic Vestments, and Power Supply, typical support items. I assume he's going for a push block with that Major Totem. I believe that also builds in the Storm Spirit. Don't remember. But who knows? Z-Freak isn't a creep, so we can't really look at exactly what he's got. We know he has Blood Chalice, Ghost Marchers, Justice Revelation, and a Codex. I assume it's Codex 3 or 4 by now, as an Assassin's Shroud comes out here. For Gladiator, now he's in some trouble as the portal cues off into the charge and Zeal Sun and a release the Kraken, and now he's dead. So he ended up being in a really awful position there, actually, as Doctor and Z-Freak both get cost here by the Root and the Kelp Field, and they both die. So 3 picks in 2 different places of the map for the Hellborn side, as that actually regen room gets knocked out from Pebbles. Not sure exactly why he did that, but whatever. Meanwhile, Minots will push this bot lane, and there is a port coming in from Nymphora, but the Zeal Stun's only going to hit the creeps. And if they don't defend this, then Minots can get a tower kill here, because Warbeast pushes really, really hard, even on towers. And this is going to be a dead base tower, especially if he activates that ulti for him, so... Really? I'm just going to leave it? Okay. Can be denied here. It's literally got like 1 health, doesn't it? It's 5 health. Sorry. Meanwhile, on bottom, let me see, a pick or 2, just 1 actually on Fitspell on this keeper, as he gets pulled back into the pitfall and in the Gladiator ultimate, and he's going to get killed. So, solid play there. Minus certainly could have finished his tower off. It looks like it has no health. I think that's the lowest I've ever seen a tower. As he just ends up denying it. So SG unable to finish that tower off and losing a bunch of gold as a result. So Z-Freak is finally not out of creep, and we're going to see that Codex is level 3. He has added Ghost Marchers. He often goes Striders when he goes the Codex route. He did that last game. But this time choosing to go with the Ghost Marchers. On the Hellborn side, we've got Keeper of the Forest, who is dead, so we can't actually look at him. But he's got a Ring of the Teacher, Ring of the Sorcery, Astrolabe, and Plated Greaves, so lots of team fight is over here. Shoot. Let's see, that's the problem. Over here at the Ancients, there's a pick onto Chessie with the Kelp Field. Dr. Repulsor's in a ton of trouble as well, but Z-Freak manages to pick somebody off, and actually Doctor's just going to escape thanks to a bunch of... Oh, no, came back with the Chuck and allowed him to throw him, but Z-Freak manages to do that to pick off Pebbles, and now Mr. Bubbles is in a ton of trouble, but he's going to be able to portal key away as Kraken ports out. So Z-Freak actually getting a couple of kills there, but sort of allowing Pebbles to get a target to chuck on top of his brother there, so really contributing to Swindle's death. A little interesting. Anyway, on the Hellborn side, Bubbles has Steam Boots, a bottle, a portal key, so pretty typical Bubbles items. Pebbles is dead, so once again we can't look at him, but he's got a portal key and Steam Boots and a Soul's Bulwark and a Grave Locket, so his farm has massively dropped off. He's at 345 gold per minute, no longer the top farmer on his team, much less the top farmer in the game. There's a Mighty Blade, so assume he's going their Shrunken Head route once again. Certainly the correct route to go, and this I think is sort of why Pebbles has fallen off. You know, he had such a good early game, and he got a great early portal key, and that should have resulted in... Actually, his Parasite's going to get picked off here. He is inside of Creek. There goes a toss, and he's dead. Repulsor's going to pick off Nymphora. That's going to charge up his Icon, but is he going to be able to survive through this? There's a Stalagmite stun. The Chuck is there at the top of the Kelp Field, and he's dead. So, that's a situation where you should just let the guy die. Z-Freak found himself in a situation that was extremely poor, and instead of allowing him to die, he decided to come in and try to save him, ended up getting a pick on Nymphora, but sacrificed his life in the process. Obviously not a good trade, especially with that Icon. You're really taking deaths is extremely bad, because you lose some of those charges. And with that, it looks like we're going to go into a Conquer kill here for the Hellborn side. Respawn timers on the Legion aren't that far off, so they could contest this if Hellborn has even some difficulty killing it. But it's going down relatively quickly, and Legion has no vision in any of this area, so they don't even know what's going on. Finishing off the items in the Hellborn sign as they kill this Kongor, Power Supply, Steam Boots, and Neophyte's book on the Nymphora, so again, I assume it's a Storm Spirit. Could also be a push book, but I'm going to assume it's a Storm Spirit to prevent some of the burst damage from Parasite, to prevent Gladiator's Pitfall, to prevent Repulsor from flying around too many. As the Gladiator ultimate comes in, will catch Kraken only. Repulsor jumps onto Bubbles. He's going to get away with the Shell Surf and kill Pyromancer. Face Hog and combination onto Pebbles. He's going to die. Release the Kraken, who gets dropped onto Warbeast and Dr. Repulsor, but Kraken dies. Keeper's going to be able to get a Nature's Veil off, but Nymphora is not going to be nearly as lucky, as she's going to die. But Pebbles actually manages to throw the Shell Surf, but he's going to fall as well. So Hellborn tries to get this Kongor kill, gets a little bit, and Keeper, what you doing, buddy? I don't know what you're doing, Keeper. Like, I don't understand what the plan was there. Just pretty terrible decision making, as that's going to finish off the genocide for the Hellborn team, And a dead mid-tower. I really don't understand why Keeper went back in there. There were 5 of them. And it was just little old him, and he didn't even have a root. So Bot Rack's now going to be pressured as we see respawns on Pebbles and Nymphora in a second. Warbeast is going to run away for some reason. Glyph is popped on the Hellborn side, and that might be the Legion's cue to get out of here. But they're not going to take it. Quite yet. Maybe they are. Of course, Parasite is magic immune, so he can't get comboed by Pebbles. And it could be in his interest to stay in there and see what he can do. But he's going to decide to play it safe, perhaps getting spooked by earlier decisions where he wanted to play really aggressive and then got punished for it. Pebbles picking up some farm here in middle lane, and Nymphora is going to port herself and Kraken and Bubbles down to bot. Gladiator Illusions taking the creep camp here, so if they initiate on these Glad Illusions, that's going to be nothing but Pyromancers walking into a bunch of them. That's going to be a dead Pyro pretty easily. Lands Dragonfire on nothing. Seal Stun comes out for the Illusions, but that's not going to do anything, obviously. As Doctor's looking for an opening. Pitfall hits 2, but nothing particularly impressive. Stalagmites come out of the Doctor on top of the Chuck. Here comes the Kelpfield as well. He's going to jump away, but take the Kelpfield stun and lose the token here. Release the Kraken going to be dropped right on top of him. Here's the Seal Stun and the Root. And there goes Swindle Melons. So 2 lockdown ultis used. I don't think both of them were necessary. I don't think the Root was necessary there, but hey, you do what you can, because that's going to turn into a mid-tower push. Actually, maybe even a bot tower push, as they think better of it. They think, oh, well, we've already got that bot secondary tower, let's take a base tower here. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Meanwhile, the Gladiator ultimate's going to hit 3 on top of the buyback from Repulsor, and that's Pebbles and Keeper dead real fast. Bubbles going to try to get out of this with the portal key, but it's not going to happen. Meanwhile, Nymphora gets picked up. Kraken manages to port away, but Bubbles falls. So Kraken the only survivor here. Great buyout there from Swindle. And I believe, did Chessie buy out too? I don't think so. I don't know. So great buyout there from Swindle, preventing the push on bottom and getting 4 hero kills with a fantastic Gladiator ultimate from Chessie. He's been pretty solid at placing those, usually hitting at least 2 heroes. And he's been pretty impressive with his pitfalls too, for that matter.
A Hellborn barracks has been destroyed.
And actually, Minus is going to be down here killing these wrecks because there's nothing that Kraken can do about it. He charges him into the woods, grabs the stun, but Minus just says, whatever, I'm going to leave. We do have 1 second respawn on the Pebbles, so Kraken's not going to choose to chase. But Minus was a little low there. Maybe if they had tried to charge him back in or something like that, then Pebbles could have gotten a combo on him and killed him. They are not interested in that. Instead, Warbeast is going to steal their Ancients, and the Hellborn team is going to retreat back, having lost bot racks. So Minus with his backdooring stuff. Nymphora port is going to come into the jungle once again with Kraken and Pebbles this time instead of Bubbles. In the meantime, Bubbles is actually going to get picked off bottom, as Repulsor jets in, is going to grab him once that... Nope, that take cover The silence prevents that, but who cares? There's a Codex.
Massacre.
Meanwhile, in mid, they see this Keeper thanks to the Bound Eye. Pitfall is going to turn him up, and there goes the root, but here comes Repulsor with the ultimate, and he doesn't care. And of course, GLaDOLT would have hit if he had continued to run that direction, and he probably would have, so that's pretty much a day. Kraken anyway. Repulsor actually jumps in here onto a bunch of heroes, 4 to be specific, as Bubbles ports Shellsurge over here, and he's now in a lot of trouble as he's pretty much out of mana. Pebbles is over here, gonna toast the Chuck out, but he doesn't have the Stalagmites quite yet. Warbeast is chasing, puts out a Dust of Revelation, Nymphora's Steel hits 2 actually on the back end. Adro's gonna take it, taking out the Codex Knight. Bubbles gonna come back in here and prevent the callback with the Shellsurge, with the take cover, but not gonna be enough. Combo onto 2 actually here, as Pyromancer manages to fall down here to Kraken. At least the Kraken stops Parasite, but Pebbles is going to be over here and dying to 3. Meanwhile, Bubbles is in plenty of trouble. He manages to get the portal key off, and Parasite is going to still try to chase him. Nice take cover there in the Codex. And so I don't think that would have killed him, but it certainly would have been scary. Kraken going to come here, charge Warbeast back in, on top of the Song and Steam Shell Surf, and there goes Warbeast, but Repulsor's going to pull in Kraken on top of the Pitfall. There goes the Whiplash, and Kraken's in plenty of trouble. Double stun onto Pebbles as Z-Freak goes down, unable to get into a creep. Dust of Revelation comes out, trying to catch that Assassin's Shroud Gladiator, but not going to. Instead, they chase down the Repulsor, who is out of mana. And there's a Shell Surf on top of the Chuck. There's the Song of the Sea, unable to do anything really, as Swindle's just trying to buy enough time. Stalagmites, though, come out, and that's going to be a dead swing.
Sit down, son.
Meanwhile, I managed to find this Assassin's Shrouded Gladiator, who did pick up a double damage rune. I assume that's it. Dust of Revelation gets popped, but that's not going to be nearly enough. They see him there. He's going to pop the Kelp Field, but there goes the Shrunken Head, and they're going to run away. Dragonfire hits 2, Whiplash onto a bunch. Dr. Repulsor, another buyback, and the Gladiator Pitfall hits a lot, on top of the Z-Freak combo, which kills Keeper. So Nymphora's going to get chased down here as well, and that's going to be another kill for Swindle. As aggressive buybacks here, as Z-Freak and Swindle Melons both buy out and manage to pick up 3 kills there in that combination. It looks like they're going to push up through middle now and see if they can't take a second set of racks and possibly end the game. They do have to be a little careful now because Swindle's out of buybacks. So not only has he not really gotten a lot of items recently because he's been spending so much money on buybacks, but if he gets picked off, he won't be coming back. This tower is pretty much dead. There it is. Bluff goes out for pretty much no reason. It really prevented almost no damage there, but these racks are completely screwed, as Kraken and Bubbles don't have enough of a combination to open up on 5. They're going to have to wait for the nearly respawned rush to their team, but in the meantime, the Legion's Eye can take this top secondary tower without too much fear, as there is no portal key on Keeper. There is one on Kraken and Pebbles, of course, and Bubbles for that matter. So there's plenty of jump potential on Hellborn's side, and they need to be careful over here because it looks like Kraken's over here. Nymphora's ported Keeper in. The charge is going to miss, actually. Shrunken Head and Ultimate coming out from Warbeast. He dies. Nymphora dies to the Codex, excuse me. So Warbeast, Shrunken Head has jumped off now, actually. Keeper the Forest. Root comes out, hits 3. Release the Kraken, gets dropped onto Repulsor and Swindle and Parasite, but he's going to be able to avoid that. Swindle Melons goes down. Kelpfield onto 3, and that's going to be enough to prevent anybody from chasing Pebbles. Meanwhile, Dragon Sun comes in with the portal key on the Pyromancer now, he doesn't have portal key, excuse me, I don't know why I thought he did. Charge away from Kraken, not going to allow anybody to hit him. Pitfall hits nothing, as Z-Freak has infested a Wagamon leader over here and is picking up a couple of creep kills. So most of the major cooldowns used from the Hellborn side, and knowing that Z-Freak is going to, Minot's going to take this top tower. Once again, the Whiplash coming out onto Pebbles, and he's going to get the Astrolabe heal up, which just might save him. Meanwhile, Bubbles going to use a Shell Surf to port out. Keeper's going to invis and try to get away. Kraken going to portal key away. Pebbles also has a Nature's Veil on top of him, so the only visible hero right now is Kraken. As Pebbles ports away, tries to catch somebody, but misses the teleporting Gladiator, but Pebbles, they managed to pick up Pyromancer and Parasite. Pebbles, Pyromancer, Parasite. That's very good. Nymphora ports going out up here, down here on the bottom lane, as they're going to backdoor this. They're going to take this tower pretty easily, possibly even use racks. There's another buyback on Z-Freak, so he's going to look to do something Dr. Pulsar comes in. He's going to pick off this Import pretty easily. Codex comes out into Keeper of the Forest, followed by the face hug in the combination, and he's dead as well. So that backdoor, extremely unsuccessful. As the Legion side picks up a couple more heroes. And they expand to nearly a 20,000 golden experience lead. So they're pretty far ahead at this point. Of course, they have over 400 GPM on 3 heroes, and nearly 400 on a 4th. Meanwhile, only one person on the Hellborn side is above 350, and that's Kraken, who is in a little bit of trouble here with double damage War Beast. Pops struggling at just in time. Repulsor runs in, is going to grab those Pebbles, and that's going to be complete death for him. So it looks like, oh, they're just going to push straight up the gut here now, as War Beast with the double damage is going to destroy these towers. His ultimate wears off, but doesn't care too much. Bubbles is going to take cover to prevent Whiplash. Charge comes in, is going to stun the War Beast, and the release of Kraken's going to grab 3, but Dr. Repulsor jumps right out of it, and is going to be able to pick off this Kraken with the help of Z-Freak's combination. Kelpfield hits a bunch, but not going to be nearly enough to do any damage. And that's the GG. The ultimate from Glad comes in, and he's going to hit a bunch. There goes M4. They're just diving the well at this point because the CC, of course, has already gone off. Keeper is going to hit Gladiator, but Void Talisman, very nice there from Parasite. Ruby's just dies for no reason. Because that's GG. So, solid series there from Stay Green. I think both of these games took a little longer than they would have expected or liked, considering that this is only the round of 8, and they should be doing a little better than this. Z-Freak's still doing stuff, so they're going to try to pick off this Bubbles. And Bubbles is having none of that. He has a bound eye, so he doesn't really care much about Nature's Veil, but the throne's going to go down, they're not going to be able to do much. Having a little fun at the end. So, like I said, Stay Green having a little more trouble, I think, in this game and in this series than they would have liked. They certainly did pull off relatively convincing wins in the end, really showing that they didn't have the greatest laning phase, I don't think. Bot went quite well, mid went quite well, their jungle went pretty well, top lane didn't go so well. But then that early mid game where, it's the initial group up and push stage, they lost a bunch of towers, they weren't able to take really convincing team fights, but then at some point, Stay Green's just going to roll over you because their coordination and team fight is that much better, and they know how to farm, and they know how to do, well, pretty much everything. So that's why they're one of the top teams in this game right now, or if not the top team, and they pretty much showed in both games of the series that it doesn't really matter how well they start. If they're playing a team that does not have the exact same amount of perfect coordination and teamwork that they do, then they're just going to roll over them, and that's pretty much what happened in both of these games. So that's it for the series, and goodbye. We'll see you later.